Alright.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order Monday, June 15th, 2026, 6 p.m. here at the Town Hall in Grafton. Need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of adopting the agenda as presented?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Approved minutes of regular meeting June 1st, 2026. Any corrections or additions? If none, do I have a motion to accept? Or a motion to, do I have a motion?
Hello.
Do I have a second?
One second.
All in favor of approving the minutes of the regular meeting of June 1st, 2026?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Ayes have it. We have two folks from Turning Point of Wyndham County.
Yes,
Welcome.
thank you. So I'm Matthew Barlow, this is Blair Coma. I'm the Rural Outreach Coordinator, she's the Rural Outreach Recovery Coach. So Turning Point, Wyndham County is based in Brattleboro. And it turns out that they've discovered that Wyndham County exists outside of Brattleboro. Which is where we come in. Our job is to put the Wyndham County back into our name. So we have been, oh boy, we've been everywhere. And they're going from here to Stratton, to their solo work. In and out. So we are a peer recovery support center. We've been around for, I don't know. Actually, I don't know how long we've been around. We are part of a larger consortium of groups called Turning Point. There's one in Springfield, there's one in Burlington, Edmonton, Bellows Falls, there's ours. We're more cousins than siblings. There's 14 recovery centers in Vermont. We are part of that consortium as well. What we do is we provide peer support to people in recovery. Vermont has high levels of addiction. In my own experience, we're all connected to it in some way, shape, or form. I come from a family full of addiction myself. So Blair is the coach. She works with people who are in recovery. She works with people to keep them on the path, to keep them sober, I guess the best way to put it. I do more administrative stuff, so I'm the contact person for most of these things, and she does the actual real work. I just, I'm the pretty face behind the real work. So we are likely to be based in Wilmington because free rent. We like that. We are a nonprofit, so it's not like we're rolling in money. So we have space in Wilmington, we have space in Putney. And what that means in reality is that I will probably be in Wilmington, Blair will be there, and in Putney, I'm also trying to find a space somewhere in this part of the county. Basically here, Townsend, Londonderry area. I think I might have some in Townsend. I was actually at West River Valley Tribes just before this meeting. I think we can arrange something there as well. So that's who we are, that's what we do. At this point, it's mostly, we're going to select board meetings so that people know that we're actually going to be in Wyndham County and not just in Brattleboro. It's not easy to get to Brattleboro all throughout the year. I've been down many dirt roads. Thank goodness for all-wheel drive, is all I can say. So this is Turning Point attempting to actually be present for the entire county. Because there are issues out here as well as there are in Brattleboro or anywhere. I mean, this is a fact. And everyone knows about fentanyl, but now we're starting to see different additives in drugs which are even more addictive. So that's where we're at, and I would say. From my experience looking at Vermont, the situation is still pretty acute from the Canadian border to the Massachusetts border in this state. And also, of course, in Quebec and Massachusetts.
I'll be out in the streets and outreach to just kind of finding anything, you know, that helps, so we kind of do it.
Yes, so she does the actual, like I said, real work. And spends a lot of time on the road through this county. So you'll see her around as well. I completely forgot to bring flyers and things like that. So, you know, at some point I'll swing back by the town hall to leave something here. So that, you know, if anyone needs our help, they can find us.
You mentioned Bellas Falls. Do you deal with Parks Place?
Yeah, so Turning Point South is in Bellows Falls. It's run by our colleague Zach Abel. And they're in Parks Place, yeah. They're in the back of it. That's what was the coach house, I guess.
Yeah, that's been a new addition for the past probably 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, Seneca is based there right now too, because they're since we're burnt down.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you're kind of looking for space in this area.
Yeah, like Townsend, Grafton, London areas, larger amorphous space. You know, it's one thing for us to be down in Wilmington, it's still not all that accessible to most of the county. So I think to be in Putney, it's still not accessible to most of the county. So if we're in Townsend or Londonderry or something like that, for Londonderry, we're way up there. For Townsend, we're kind of in the middle of the county.
Have you thought about Grace Cottage Hospital?
Yeah, we have a working relationship with them as well.
Okay.
That is run through, in Brattleboro, we have a families program. And the families program kind of takes care of like, you know, the person with the issue, but the family as well. And that is how we interact mostly with Grace Cottage, but we do have a relationship with them, yes. And of course, with the retreat in Brattleboro and Brattleboro. The other thing I should point out that what we can do is we also have connections to recover, like to actual treatment facilities. So Vermont is kind of lacking in that department. So we are often sending people to New Hampshire and Massachusetts as well. And we have connections like all throughout the recovery world in New Hampshire and Massachusetts as well. In fact, Claire and I both live in Massachusetts.
Good of you to come and spread the word.
It has to be done.
Yes, we spread.
People-
You're right.
There's too many people struggling.
Yep. We reach one person there again.
Yeah.
Can you give us just a little bit more on your mission and how you achieve it? How do you define recovery, in recovery? How tolerant are you for people who actually stay in the program? From where do you get your referrals? And where do you get your money that is going to pay for some space?
Yeah, we're still working on the last part. We're lucky in the fact that, you know, the space in Wilmington comes for free, the space in Putney comes for free. We're working with Putney Cares there. So more than likely we'll end up working with, you know, West River Valley Thrives in Townsend or someone up in Londonderry with another nonprofit. And we do work with nonprofits, like with West River Valley Thrives, they do a lot of prevention work in schools. So we work with them to do that. Other questions you had? Yes.
We can simply tolerance with that, that's like no one recovery, some people come, try 15 times and they don't make it, and we try again. Most people don't get it the first try. So we're very tolerant of that, and recovery myself, so I know the past 8 years of being in recovery, it's my job to teach people how to rebuild. And it looks different for everybody. So that's kind of what I focus on is, you know, some of these identifying their goals and what they, you know, want their life to look like, and figuring out how to get there. You know, whether they need additional, you know, residential, or detoxification, or just, you know, changing, making it weekly to kind of continue working on those goals. That just looks different for everybody. So we're very tolerant and,
Yeah, like my brother is in recovery, my little brother, And I think he tried it like 6 times before he finally made it. And I think that's just it, you know, it's. My mother's been doing this for something like 40 years in Vancouver, British Columbia. And I think she's the one who told me that basically our success rate is somewhere around the baseball batting average. But just keep trying, right? If you save one person, you can save a family, really, hopefully. And if you can help more people, it kind of snowballs that way. You know, for example, at our center in Brattleboro, we get anywhere between 25 and 50, 60 people come through our doors a day.
About 9 of them make it the first 5 times,
Wow.
Yeah,
and
we're
about
basically,
7 won't pass.
You mentioned the various organization, towns and whatever thrives, and we have an organization, Grafton Cares. How do you work with those organizations? How do they help you? What
so
can they do?
what they have that we don't have, is in part connections. So for example, when we met with Ruby McAdoo at Puppy Cares.
Yeah.
We already met the town manager, Putney, and she's actually the one who sent us to Ruby. But Ruby had connections to the school board, she had connections to a couple of AA groups. And Puppy Cares primarily works with senior citizens, so that's actually a major issue in Vermont, so that also connects us there. We work with, I'll never remember the name of this group in Wilmington. DVCP, don't ask me what it stands for, Deerfield Valley something.
Partnership.
Community partnerships, there we go. So they do work with schools as well, you know, prevention work, they run an after school club. And we work with them, excuse me, in terms of prevention, but also some of these kids are coming from families that have active addiction in them. So we help provide support there. So we have, like, compared to some of these smaller nonprofits out here, we have more resources when it comes to, you know, addiction and recovery, and to some degree more experience as well.
We're trying to build like a, collaboration of people so that we all can, it's not just us at
Yeah,
different points, like we can reach out to you, for this, or it's easier to kind of, get somebody different than you partner, rather than run that through because they're lacking, a different resource, so it's trying to pull as many people as we can.
Yeah. It's a coalition, right? Like that's what we're building here. You know, and as Zach Lavelle in Bellows always tells me, whenever I feel like I'm stepping on his feet, which is about once a week, he always says, well, we're all on the same team, we're all pulling to the same goal here. So, we'll work with anybody, frankly, anyone who needs help, any organization that is trying to help, we'll also work with them and work with, anyone. We've been talking to select boards, we've been talking to town officials. The state's attorney, Steve Brown, is the supporter of us. Yeah, we've talked to the state police, the Wilmington police, the Dover police, EMT, fire departments, and the Catholic clergy in Wilmington. So yeah, we're really trying to speak to, and all those nonprofits as well.
We were contracted in the beginning to come in and see, assess the needs,
Yeah,
as we've been getting, there's obviously a need.
Right.
And then we kind of, here to try to open as many places over, and go to the coalition, okay?
yeah, so I kind of think in systems, it's just where my experiences up to this point in my career, and so I have this massive coalition of organizations, groups, and people. At some point, we're gonna try and bring people together into a single place so we can all know each other. And know what kind of work that we're doing. This is actually why I was talking to Caitlin at West River Valley Thrives today. And then we have other projects coming out of Wilmington that should also help in this respect too. So yeah.
The good village for recovery, really takes me village and village for the child, same thing in recovery.
Yeah, like you need to rebuild your entire support network and all that. And that's where her expertise lies.
Well, thank you very much for coming and discussing a real issue here that oftentimes is hidden And breaking that denial is very hard.
It is.
And it takes years, and it's an individual thing and a family thing and a kid thing. I know where you're at in terms of my teaching and my counseling with children and doing preventative education in drugs and alcohol in K to 12. So I've been there, done it. It's really tough,
It is tough.
but it's rewarding when you can save somebody, especially a whole family.
Yeah, I mean, I was at university for about 25 years and if you're just
Yep.
one kid a semester, you're winning.
Yeah.
Also, thank you. This is the most feedback we've gotten so far.
Oh, great.
Actually, questions, most select boards just listen to us and nod and send us on our way, so.
Yeah.
Appreciate the questions.
Thanks for that.
And we have Morgan Wilbur, our town administrator, if you need any contact information on
And leave.
services or churches or what we have here. She'll help you out.
Yes. Yes, I appreciate your time. I know there's a lot to do on the select board. So we'll leave you to it and off the strap and go.
Be careful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Oh, I need to.
I'm back.
Yeah, I don't think. Secret. Travis, how about a highway report?
Oh, we've got something before that.
They're gonna be a little late.
Oh.
They're down in, another New Fane.
Yeah, today, three of the guys completed the hands-on training of the grader. Last week, we were up on Middletown and replaced our first boulder. That we noticed in mud season, that was a problem. Wrapped up ditching on Middletown Cemetery and Woodchuck Hill. That was completed. We went and sweeped out the Ketterhill Bridge along with, up the flag. And then noticed we had some rotten boards, which we're gonna address later this summer. With that being said, we did some work under the guardrails there to help the water get off versus run through the bridge. Other than that, the roadside mowing will officially start for Middletown tomorrow. And we're headed to stage for another culvert replacement that showed up this spring.
Another what replacement?
Culvert.
Oh, right.
Did the guy from the state help you out with the grading?
Yes, be very helpful.
You said you only three of you participated in it. Is the fourth one gonna participate sometime or?
The fourth one had previously taken it in Londonderry. So he did not.
But you're working on with all three crewmen on the grading, right?
Yes.
So everybody's.
Everybody's,
Everyone was welcome to it. If you do the online, you could keep things on.
Yeah.
David did not do the online. He had done it many years ago. So he did.
are the culverts on Route 35 going towards Chester? There's two there. Yeah, are they failing or what?
They are old metal culverts that have rusted out. They're actually dropping.
Right,
You can notice in most rear wireless.
Around one. okay. Any others that we should be aware of?
The two, Middletown was a hole that developed this spring that was. Have to stage, we have two half tubes with holes that developed, and yeah, Chester would probably be the next priority.
Any other questions for Travis? Or concerns?
Um, kind of, highway, but, we had talked about reaching out to the tree services that we've used before about the cemeteries. Were you able to?
I've gotten one price, I'm waiting on two others,
Okay, thank you.
so that's in motion, I should know within a couple of days.
Appreciate it. On that thing, what is the price to do? Because there are a lot of trees around this cemetery.
What Buzz and I discussed was doing just a day rate, so I'm getting three prices to just have the tree service come in. And, you know, at that point, we can pick out the desired trees. But just for an idea of budgeting, say it's gonna be $3,000, you know, do we wanna spend, you know, a day or 2 days here, and then pick a cemetery, then pick the trees.
Makes
So,
sense.
so that's kind of where we were at.
We used to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're trying to find a way to make it comparable, you know, apples to apples, and then, you know, we can decide where it would be most advantageous to, you know, work first. Yeah. That's good, it's kind of the same, principle that applies to fixing the gravestones. It's hard to tell, you know, fixed price on something that we're not really sure how long it's gonna take. Yeah, I agree. You know, they're very variable, right? There are some that are much older and illegible. Some are fallen, some are split. You know, there's a wide range of repairs that, you know, might be necessary. So, yeah, I think that, as we continue our discussions, we can figure out how we attack that.
Anything, thank you, Travis. Anything else for Travis on the board? Keep up the good work. Hmm. Anything from, Kim?
The only thing I have is that unlicensed dog list. So there are currently 10 households on the list, but one of them came in today and registered their dogs, so that's now down to 9. Kim has passed the list on to the animal control officer, who will then reach out individually to each of them to get their dogs licensed.
Okay. The one you mentioned to me earlier was a phone call made, or is it just gonna get a letter from, or a call from?
I'm not sure how Ashley handles it. I think she probably does a certified letter first and then probably goes individually.
Just for the heck of it, or do we know all these dogs are still with us? Or don't we know that?
I don't know that.
Okay, they find out obviously along the way.
Yeah,
It's a pretty short list, I'd say.
yeah, I think so.
Pretty good.
Anything else from Kim?
No. That was all.
Committee reports, cemetery.
So, Peter and I have kind of started a bi-weekly meeting, I guess. So every other Sunday, you know, we started a week and a half ago, we talked about the trees in the cemetery. And I took the action to follow up with Morgan and then Travis. So appreciate you following up on that. We've also started a discussion on the rates for the cemetery, for the plots. Peter suggested a survey of other towns that we have contacts. There's some public information, but not a lot. I think Bristol and Norwich publish theirs, but it's not a big pool. So, you know, if we get contact information and we send them a survey, we may get some more information about, you know, what their prices are and how they manage their cemeteries. You know, Peter also suggested asking how much how many remaining plots each cemetery may have. So, you know, we're able to compare apples to apples a little bit. So I think we'll follow up on that as we go along. That's probably a longer term effort, so stand by for updates there. I did, my sister kind of volunteered, over the weekend for the Westminster Cemetery, kind of, volunteer cleanup. And she said it was pretty interesting. They had like 50 people,
15 or
she-
50?
50,
Wow.
pretty good turnout, and it was centered around, the Vermont Old Cemetery Association, who didn't have a huge presence, but they were lending expertise and training people on how to properly maintain and fix and even repair stones. And, you know, the proper, you know, chemicals to use, the ones that you don't want to use, you know, what's approved by the state. So at a minimum, they have a lot of technical information. They have a newsletter that, you know, she grabbed some of, and it is a little aged, you know, it's a, I don't think they do them that often. But they do go around and support various towns. It can take a couple of years to get on their rotation, because they're, you know, they have quite a few that they work on now. But, you know, I think it's worth pursuing, so, I was gonna reach out and, try to get some more information. It's been in existence for 63 years.
Oh,
Wow.
And they really seem to have a good, you know, level of expertise. And it's a Vermont centered organization, so, you know, they've dealt with a lot of, you know, cemeteries that have various, in various degrees of disrepair, you know, needing some love and attention.
Mhm.
So, I'll be following up on that. And then, you know, Peter and I will get in a bit of a cadence. And, you know, probably, I did do it this week, but maybe we'd start sending in a written update that we can review in each meeting. Any permanent,
Any thoughts about looking at bids or putting out bids for the fencing at the village cemetery?
we talked about the trees, we didn't do a discussion on the fencing yet, but, you know, we'll put that on our agenda and talk about it.
It's been quite a while on the fencing issue, and it can go back at least 3 years that we've trying to do something, so I was trying to,
Set a target for, yeah, that should be something
Thinking
that
about
we can do by the end of the.
having somebody look at it, get some bids out there,
Yep.
just to get it going. It's a
Yeah, we talked
suggestion.
about a volunteer effort at one time. I know there's always the concern on
Mm.
liability. But, you know, there's, you know, there's enough people around that have enough experience and knowledge to put up, oh, how long would that fence be, John? 70 feet? Maybe? 70 feet of fence, maybe?
Yeah, at least that,
Yeah.
we measured it once, I don't know if it's in the records or not.
All right, well, I can go up and measure again. Maybe. Talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know it's been an open issue for quite a long time. So
Mm.
we can put that at the top of our agenda, one, well, kind of coexisting at the top of our agenda with the
Yeah.
trees.
We have prioritized, you know, the trees,
And,
the stones, the fence.
I guess, the style, I mean, part of the fence up there is the old kind of white fence, and then part of it is where the split rail.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what is preferred, or is there a preference?
I don't know.
I kind of like the split rail look, but I don't know if there's any.
Those easier to take care of.
Mm. Maybe.
50-59.
Yeah.
So, it's just different.
I know, I think I still have in my camera a lot of the pictures that I've taken of the fence up here at the village and the one in Holtonville.
Yeah, and I do think the village fence around the perimeter needs some attention as well.
Yeah.
There's a few, I'd call them weed trees that are
Mhm.
growing up in there. So, again, I have a weed shovel, so we may just take care of this.
I'm just wondering
No power.
on the bids for the mowing of that, on the particular cemeteries, really cleaning out that, the fence area underneath and pulling out some of that stuff, could be part of that bid.
And that's another thing we need to do is, kind of start aligning with Austin. on his roles and responsibilities, and what he does and doesn't do. As we move forward.
Okay.
Any questions for the subject?
No, but thank you for pursuing some of these thoughts of the Vermont Old Cemetery Association. I think that's pretty good lead.
Peter had heard of them, I had not, so it's kind of an interesting organization, so that it even exists, I like it.
Cool.
We have Parks Committee. Anything?
I don't think we have anything. We corresponded earlier. I did, I was not at the last meeting, but gathered there was some concern about barbed wire. And particularly on our property, so we walked it and we found a rogue piece down, actually it wasn't even, it was below us, so it was the top of the fields above the nature center or above the houses. The house next to it, which used to be Joe Polia's house, and then one next to that. I just found, literally we found one's about 8-inch thing, piece of barbed wire that had grown out of a tree. I mean, or the tree had grown around the barbed wire. I think it's all been removed, to the best of my knowledge, probably by the nature center because of their kids' activities and things there. So I got rid of that, and as far as I could tell, well, certainly not on our property. I don't see any other barbed wire, but certainly keep our eyes open.
So Sam was a little bit brought it up in the meeting, you know, and he thought there was, some had been cleaned up, but he thought there was maybe 100 or 100 and some feet left.
And
So-
I don't know where he could, I guess I don't know where that is. It's not on our property.
Okay,
So yeah, I walked the whole length of it. And up the side, there's not on our stone wall that goes into the next part of our property and on the end, so.
he would just appreciate an update, so maybe we can let him know.
Yeah, this is the update from me. If he has, if it's somewhere else that I'm unaware of that isn't on our property, then we can look at it.
I can call him back. Thanks for checking.
Yeah, I don't know where else to look as far as we're concerned. So
Yeah, he was just concerned about somebody getting hurt.
the
Yeah.
nature center's taken a pretty close look at their whole strip. I mean, every time they spray paint all the ruts and everything so they're pretty on top of it.
Maybe I cleaned it up since Sam seen.
I don't know. It's been, since we've lived here, I've never noticed it. But I did see this piece growing, it's not growing out of a tree, but it was tree grew around it. So I got rid of that, and that was the best I could do. But if there's another spot that I don't know about or we don't know about, then we'll just take a look at it and deal with it. So I have nothing further.
Thanks. Highway, anything else on highway?
You have a new update on the truck? Nothing doing that, I'm still
Reach out to investors for anything.
What's that scheduled for fall?
Yes, yeah, October.
Personnel, we met with Travis and Morgan today to go over interviews, and we'll pursue what we found at executive session. Yeah, anything else? July 2023 flood update.
I just have one, John and I have worked pretty hard at asking the state if we could get paid for the 7.8% that the state owes the town for the flood. And so they were able to approve the projects that have already been completed and signed off on, which the town had spent $713,889. And so the 7.8% of that came to 55,683. And all of those match the records that I have, so we signed that today and we should be receiving that $55,000 here soon. Within the next couple of weeks. So that's for projects that have been completed. That does not include the extra ledge at the Hingley Road culvert, the Eastman Road wall, or the administrative work. So
Did you say 7.2%? 7.2?
7.8.
Oh, 8, okay. Any other questions for Morgan? Thanks for the update, yeah.
Like, whatever.
We've had to be really diligent about that.
It's only been 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad about the fence.
They're pretty good with sitting here with over 400,000 that they did pay us. The work hasn't been completed, so
Yeah,
we do have that.
That's good. Fire pond mowing
Hmm.
discussion.
Let's hire who we did, got last year.
Say it again, John?
Let's hire who we had last year. Man, yes. So that doesn't have to go out to bid.
Cause it's underneath, under the
5,000.
5,000.
Yeah,
Right,
last year we only had 2 bids, right, and one was outside of town and no liability.
Didn't have any
right, yeah, no
Yeah,
insurance.
so we did try to go out bid last year and we up again, so I would tend to agree.
I would agree for the expediting.
He's mowed it probably 50 times.
Right.
Anyway, knows what he's doing, so.
Oh, he mowed it more than once? I thought it was just
No.
one more.
Horse of the year.
Oh, the years.
He's
Right,
the one that's been mowing that
okay.
for the foundation.
So go somewhere.
Yeah.
Who's been mowing?
Russell Country.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, as long as they're doing it and, looks good.
I think you ought to make sure it's gonna be done for the price it was last year or somewhere close to it.
I agree. I was just gonna say,
Can we ask them for a quote?
No, I just asked you what he was gonna do it for,
That's what I meant.
and if it's considerably more, then we would maybe want to
If we need
go
to,
back.
So ask if there's a price change.
Yeah.
And if he's available to do it.
And you think one mowing is enough? Sufficient?
Yeah.
One mowing, not two, like one in the spring, one in the fall,
Maybe only did it once.
just once.
Yeah. I don't remember when we did it last year.
yeah, when did we do? I walked through there fairly recently. It's not terribly, it's not bad yet.
I think it was late summer, maybe early fall.
Okay, yeah, because I remember, I mean, it's like I walked right up to the
Yeah,
edge.
we put it out to bid last June, so,
Okay,
probably around the end of July. maybe.
yeah, I think so.
So you'll get in touch with them, Morgan?
Yeah. I
Mhm.
think too.
Other business?
I was gonna mention just,
Mhm.
but I feel a little, I can't remember the timing of all of this, but there is going to be a discussion at the Nature Center on the 24th. I need to look in the Grafton News to see exactly what time, about this initiative to have a community nurse of sorts, so the rescue squad. Keith and a group have been working together to come up with a program that would be a community support type nursing program, and they will talk much more about it to the community on that day. I'm on the board as a treasurer of the rescue, so I just said that I'd bring it up today. Just full disclosure, but anyway, it's a pretty, the idea being to help folks before things get, you know, emergencies and things like that. It would just be so there are a variety of people that are working towards this. I just thought I'd announce it as well as the Grafton News.
Are they looking at funding?
They have already covered all that. I know they'll explain it all. they've been looking at grants and things like that. It won't, that is not going to be associated with rescue. I mean, it's a separate entity.
No, I understand that part.
Yeah, they have,
I was just concerned about, we always had Ames Holt. Is
Mhm.
that
They
still
are,
available?
yeah, that's
Good.
exactly right. I don't want to steal their thunder, I just want to announce it.
And is there anything in writing yet, or is?
There is a memorandum of understanding, so yeah, there's quite a big, long document. I just saw it today for the first time. So yeah, they're moving along, and so they're moving along to creating this entity. Just as the way it says, part of their sort of, yeah, right. Okay, what do you call it? I guess it's.
First, any other business? Public comment?
And are we waiting for the sheriff?
Yes.
Hmm.
What do we have for doing?
It's 6:41. Let's see if I have any update from him.
Is the sheriff himself planning to attend?
Mark, yeah.
Last Friday, he just said, just a heads up, I'm in Newfane's meeting just before. They said they'll get me in first thing and I'll be right up after that.
Oh, I hear a door.
We might have,
It's another close.
that would be impeccable.
Hooray.
No, don't stare at me.
You done?
Ah,
Yay.
what do you know?
Yeah, you did. Welcome.
Welcome, thank you. I don't even know where I'm supposed to go right now. You kind of caught me off guard, not gonna lie. Is there something that's good for microphone?
Yep, right there. You can
This
make
voice
sure the
is-
button's on, it turns green. And hold,
Buttons.
and hold it up to your face.
You have a lot. This voice is- All right.
So I know we have our contract coming up for you guys. And along with that, we had some concerns about what's going on here in Grafton with, burnouts. I call them blow ups, but whatever. What to do about it, concerned about safety, and actually they're damaging parts of the road. And they seem to know when we've just graded a road or put in a driveway at the cemetery, and they know how to go and kind of muck it up. So,
So happy to speak to all of that.
Yeah.
I'm also here to speak about our regional policing pilot project,
Yes.
which the legislature just passed. So I'll start with the list you just gave me first.
mhm.
Let's see, so upcoming contract, we'll talk about that with regional policing as well. Treat your upcoming contract the same as you would any other years if we were doing nothing else.
Mhm.
Because everything I'm hoping to do, and going to towns right now to meet with them to talk about, will not start any services before next July. So treat your next contract just as if we were doing nothing else.
Okay.
With relation to burnouts, or I would say generally it's gonna be any traffic safety concerns, this is the regular issue that we are always running into, which is that we contract for a couple hours a week. There's 168 hours in a week, we can't be everywhere. We can't even really give you any sort of consistency and any expectation of consistency with the number of hours that we currently contract for. Certain burnouts, or we would consider rapid acceleration, is not safe. We work on it, we try to use the information resources we can to find it, but oftentimes it's an activity of opportunity. Somebody doesn't have to
invest a lot of time, energy, or resources to say I'm gonna push my gas pedal harder. So it is, we can talk to people who are observing it, we can look at cameras, we can find out the best times to come. If it happens, it happens, if it doesn't, it doesn't, and that's about as a good a strategy as I can provide, is that we can add presence in places, but as quickly as we're in that place, it's an opportunistic thing, someone looks around and says, oh, look, there's a cruiser right there, I'm not gonna do it right now. And so we're working on that. We do get reports of vehicles, if we're provided the license plate, we're able to usually go make contact with people who are involved. So those are things that we can do and do actively do. But it is not uncommon that we are told it was the gray car. So we work our best with the information that we have, but sometimes it is not enough for us to be able to take any enforcement action.
What's the impact if you get lucky when you catch somebody?
The person would receive a ticket, I forget the exact ticket amounts, $162 or $220, it would be 3 points on their license. All of that money goes to the state of Vermont's general fund, so the town of Grafton sees nothing.
No, I was thinking about money, I was thinking about the impact in the community and how you go about taking some advantage of having scored so that the word gets out.
Generally speaking, and this could be for any sort of violation, I say, for every ticket we write, 10 people hear about it. For every warning we write, 3 hear about it. So tickets generally have a greater impact, but 10 is still not significant when we start talking about it. We really need to have good messaging going out. I know a lot of people are gonna be watching this stream right now, so we will be out looking for it. But at the end of the day, I mean, let's be realistic, how many people can we connect with in what ways and what mechanisms? We can post things on Facebook, we can put it on Instagram, Front Porch Forum, whatever the mechanisms that are. Back when I was working patrol more often, I'd say I could sit in the middle of Route 35, turn my blue lights on and still have a person blow right past me. It's like, how visible can we be about something and still have limited impact, is remarkable to me, but.
What can the town do to help?
Certainly sharing messaging, using any social media access postings, town can do that. We talk with Morgan on a fairly regular basis if there's something, and I'm certainly happy to push out a campaign messaging about it. So happening in other communities as well. This is one of those things that I don't fully understand. As a 16-year-old, I could understand the degree of it, but with the cost of tires and fuel and everything right now, I don't understand how people are doing this right now. But it's not for me to understand, it's for me to respond to and deal with. So that's right now, that's about the best I can say.
What can you say to parents and like safety issues of what they're doing? My fear is that there's gonna be a fatality.
So if you ever hear me speak, and I will speak passionately about traffic safety, I did it for most of my career. It's not about me writing a ticket, it's not about me doing really anything to the end of stopping a car, it's about reducing motor vehicle crashes and ultimately fatalities. What we call doing a burnout is basically, it's called, the law is called starting a parked car. Now that doesn't sound like anything, but what every operator in the state has a responsibility to do is to maintain control of the vehicle. So doing a wheelie on a motorcycle is the same as doing a burnout in the context. We can recognize that when you're accelerating to the point that your tires are spinning, there's no friction. Friction is an important thing for driving. And so at the end of the day, it is a high risk of that vehicle alone losing control, hitting a guardrail, going off a bank, going off a bridge, hitting another car. I mean, all of the things start to very quickly come into play. Is my messaging to that end going to convince anyone it's a bad idea to do? Probably not. We've been saying this my entire career.
Suzanne?
Thank you. So I have a particular interest in this issue because I hear these things going by my house. various hours of the night, and I also have a neighbor who's very affected by this thing. We're also, as Kathy pointed out, concerned about our bicyclists and our tourists who are walking on Townsend Road and have no idea when they walk 4 abreast on Townsend Road, what a dangerous thing that is to do because people who speed on that road. I looked into this, Mark, and I learned that there are at least 2 violations. Damaging the surface of a road and negligent operation of a vehicle. Now, that sounds like a little bit more serious than $163, if I may be so blunt.
So, damaging the road, generally it's not considered damaging the road unless actual chunks of pavement are removed. The, acceleration generates heat, which ultimately burns the petroleum that's part of the byproduct of pavement, and so that's not considered damage to the road. We've talked this through with state engineers and ultimately we have no support on that. Starting a parked vehicle, which if you read the statute about it, you'll understand why it's applicable, even though it sounds like something entirely different. That's the statute that we would use for it. Negligent operation, we have to show that there's risk of injury to others' lives. So it could very well present, and that is a criminal charge, but we would have to bring all the facts and circumstances related to why it's negligent operation versus they just accelerated rapidly.
It's interesting because the LCT shared that believes that these are the 2 things that could be charged. And it's also interesting that damage to a road is not also considered the look of it. I mean, our roads look like people are driving recklessly. And I can't imagine that that's not something to be dealt with seriously. We spend $120,000 a year on our pavement, by the way.
So I don't get to
And the next
choose
thing we
what
have,
the
we have
legislation
paved roads.
states for the presentation of the roads. That would be a discussion to have with your representative or senator.
Well, I'm having it with you because you're the department that stand up in front of the car and get it themselves.
We can do the enforcement of laws that exist, but marking up a road does not exist as a law in and of itself. So I have no control of the appearance of the road as a result of the if they're damaging the road, we have to show the active intent of what they're doing to damage the road, which again, we've attempted with these types of situations in the past, and we don't get the support we need.
Thank you,
I'm just gonna make one more point, please, Kathy. And that is, how can this community help you pinpoint that you need to be out patrolling for these? Now, let me tell you the reason. I can almost make a schedule of when these cars, and it sounds more to me like a truck, I don't know that. Because it usually happens at 9:15 or 10:15 on a Friday or Saturday night. And I think there are members of this community who can help you pinpoint when you should patrol these areas with a higher likelihood of catching these perpetrators, as they would say on television, you know. But are you really interested in doing this? Or do your officers, when they approach somebody, a kid who's done this, are they serious about saying this is not a good thing for you to be doing?
I would say yes.
And so how would you answer my question about how in this community, I walk a lot. And when I see someone speeding, I do try to memorize their license plate number. And I have at least 5 license plate numbers I can give you.
We will take them.
Okay,
So
how do I
can
do that? Calling the sheriff's office is not an easy thing to do. And I don't think we're even supposed to, according to this contract. There are 5 people who are supposed to call you.
No, so the members of the town are able to contact my office to file complaints about things that are happening. The purpose of the contract where it says the 5 people or however many you want is to say we can actually negotiate terms of the contract. So we don't want everyone in town being able to have the authority to commit the town to all parts of the business agreement. That's what those 5 people. So how can the town do it? Contact my office, 802-365-4942.
802.
365 4942.
And can I say to whoever answers the phone or to the voicemail, that you mentioned to me at the select board meeting that you would take this information, that you would have someone talk to me about it?
You don't even have to say all of that, but if you want to say that, you're absolutely welcome to. It's 24/7. I have a dispatcher there all the time. And what you're making is a motor vehicle complaint. And what we'll want to know is times, days of the week. There's a description of the vehicle, if any. If you can get a license plate, that's ideal, but we don't want people to put themselves in harm's way.
I cannot call you when this event is happening, because it happens too fast. What I can do, it happens in an instant, and it's 9:15 at night. What I can do is give you advance information about this, and I think other members of our community can do that too.
So all of these things are data points, so I understand you're not gonna be able to dial the phone quick enough as it's happening right
Right.
now. We already missed that one, I promise
We
you.
missed it,
But we still collect those data points, which help us pinpoint what we're.
and when
gonna
I
do.
call this number, that's where I can leave those data points.
That's where you do them.
Okay. I just wanna say, but no. I just can't, as you can profile me, you probably know that I did not burn rubber when I was a teenager. Okay? But I do know enough to know that it ruins the tires. Some people actually go to the trouble of changing their tires before they go out on these escapades. So this is premeditated crime. They prepare to go out on those roads and ruin them and risk other people's lives. It's not good.
I won't argue with you.
Now,
Um,
I just wonder if we're also getting reports, we've had at least 2 accidents in this town. And I'm not sure whether either one of them was related to speeding or burnout. But I wonder if the select board is informed about these incidents and what was taken, what was done to correct them.
I did not come here today knowing I was gonna speak to any of this. I can't answer any of your questions right now, but I'm happy to connect with the board and follow up on anything. We do report to the town each month with all the activities that we're engaged in and different investigations that we have going. So the select board is availed of that information. As far as these 2 crashes, it could have been my department who investigated it, it could have been the state police. We deal with crashes across the county nearly every day, so it may be remarkable to some people, to me, I mean, it's just another piece of things that have happened in the day.
I'm sure it is.
So I'd be happy to.
Sometimes not that to our rescue squad who shows up.
I'm sorry?
It's sometimes not common for our rescue squad who shows up,
Totally understand.
for sure. Thank you, Mark. I have quite a rant,
That's
and
okay.
I appreciate your listening. I really do.
I appreciate your patience. It's frustrating when it's not, when you don't see things happen, but I assure you, when we get to. Get calls, we are already working on it the next day, if not at that moment. So we do, take it into account. There's that realistic nature that there are only so many hours that we're here, each year, each week, each month. And it is a very difficult statistical problem when I think it's 4 hours a week, versus 168 hours for the full week.
Yeah.
So it's trying to make the best of the time and the resources the town has provided for us.
Candy, thank you and the select board for allowing me, and I'm also, as you know, my letter is from Dean Vogel and me. And so I know that Dean feels exactly the same way I just articulated, so thank you for your help.
yeah, and I do know that the select board in Morgan, as a town administrator, when there's been an accident or an injury, that the chair has come in, maybe not you, Mark, but can't remember his name, but he's come in to tell us, so we are aware. And if there's damage done to guardrails, those were repaired. And that the person that did violate that or cause it was charged with that, so we're aware of that.
And when there is property damage, including to the
Right.
town's infrastructure, bridges, guardrails, signs, those things, insurance covers that
Yeah.
repayment to the town. So there's a process that goes with it, but
It's the,
Well, it's the driver is charged with those costs.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, is that the town is reimbursed by
That's
the
right.
driver who,
Right.
caused the crash, so. There is some remuneration to the town, it's not an ideal system, but it's like when you are hit by someone else, like your insurance is never gonna cover enough, their insurance never covers enough.
Right.
Which is why we come back to the entire conversation around how do we deduce, dangerous situations on this.
But I know you have some other things that you wanna talk about.
So, I am on the speaking tour right now about Act 104, which is a pilot project that Wyndham County was permitted to do this legislative session. Around establishing what's known as a regional regional law enforcement governance council. I forwarded information to you electronically, you'll be receiving it in the mail, however quickly the mail comes. So you'll get that, and I can also leave a copy with you tonight. But what this was the body of about 4 years of work with my office and all the towns in Wyndham County, where we said, how can we do policing better? Because what we do right now is not great. It's not an ideal system, it is what we can do. And so what we set out was to say, rather than my office have 15 separate business agreements with towns and villages, which is what we currently have, we raise about $750,000 across all the towns to do that work. What we're looking to do is have one governance council made up of a select board member from each town that joins, who ultimately sets out a budget, and we established a single agreement with the collective towns. What we're looking at doing is sharing with neighbors the services and resources based on the number of people your town has to provide more coverage, better service, better access to service, for what you're roughly, and I say roughly, I'll come to that in a second, but for what you're roughly paying right now. The mechanism of Act 104 for taxation would use per capita. That was a request of towns. So whatever the cost of the program would be, we would take that cost divided by the total population, and then you multiply it by the population of your town to know what your assessment would be. The reason that we're doing this is because it gives greater access without me having to manage 15 separate business agreements between 15 separate towns. I'm gonna say that differently. It means when there's someone in Athens and someone's doing a burnout in Grafton, they could go. And right now, the current system is I have a business agreement with Athens and I need to honor that. And so even though there's someone doing a burnout, we used our 4 hours this week, and so we'll take the data point and we'll push that one to next week. It's a dumb system. But as I've presented this conversation over the last 4 years, I say we have a 60% solution with our current contracting system. And it's been good enough to do something, so we've kept it going for roughly 80 years. What we're looking to do with Act 104 is work with neighbors, be good neighbors, to try to say, can we get people access to law enforcement resources? Again, with that roughly $750,000 we currently raise, that establishes about 5.5 full-time equivalent employees. So what we would be looking to do is share those resources across all of the towns through one business agreement that protects the voters' money, but ultimately provides better service to the voters. This has been well studied over the last 60 years. The legislature has looked at regionalization for a number of things. And so it's actually pretty exciting that Wyndham County was trusted to take this up, because it's the first time in the last 60 years the legislature has pushed forward for anything related to regionalization around policing. So I'm excited about that. It's a cool opportunity. There's 2 asks that I have of the town of Grafton. And it is stated in the documentation I sent you. Ask number 1 is whether or not you want to join the Regional Governance Council. There will be no offense taken if the answer is no. I just need to know if you're in or if you're out, because I have a very aggressive schedule. And don't say that to be scary, but an aggressive schedule to be able to get the organization developed, bylaws created, passing a budget this fall so that it's before the voters at town meeting. So we're basically saying, I need to know what towns are in and what towns are out so we can organize, do the work to deliver the thing. Now, while it's an aggressive schedule, it's also a very doable schedule. But we have to do the work. And so my office is fronting the administrative burden to get that done which is why I really just need to know, is the town of Grafton in or out? I do not need to know that today. If you knew the answer today, I'd be happy to take it, but the deadline we asked that you make a decision by the 15th.
By one month,
The 15th of July.
I was gonna say that's today.
We gave you a month.
So why would you be out? What are the reasons for not doing it?
We don't like change. Nobody likes change, and we always want change.
Sure.
So why? Honestly, I think that for the same reason as our animal control program started with 4 towns and grew to 10, people weren't sure that the change would be what they wanted. We used the animal control, the regional animal control project to actually lay the foundation of what this project was. So if you're familiar with our animal control program, which the town of Grafton's a part of, that was my test work at this. You've been doing what Act 104 is.
That's right.
It's just the tweak is that we will have a select board member from each town that's participating now have the authority to vote on the decisions. What we've been doing with the regional animal control program is basically a non-binding vote of the representatives from each town. And so if it fell apart, which it hasn't been, but if it fell apart, there's not much recourse aside from lawsuits, which is its own problem. But we haven't had to explore that, and that's why Act 104 is better than what we're doing on regional animal control. I think that towns are going to be sensitive to impacts on budgets. Until we know who's in, we can't develop a budget. It's not Mark deciding what the budget is. In fact, it's the council that would decide what that budget is. And so I can forecast what I think would be a good idea. And that would, if we had all 15 towns join, it would be almost exactly the same contributions that towns are making or less of what they're currently paying. A town like Grafton, though, might be a slight increase. And so you might look at it and say, well, why do we want this? And because I'm saying you're gonna get 24/7 coverage or whatever that service is that the council establishes. Whereas right now you get 2 to 4 hours a week, and when we spend the hours, and we'll push it to next week.
yeah, you mentioned that, if there was a call, they would be able to go to that call. Is that, how do you prioritize?
So if it's a life or limb issue, we're coming. If I have people on and they're able to respond, they will come, and we'll figure out the business side later, because at the end of the day, well, but I mean, that's what we do. Or something like someone needs a VIN verification on their vehicle, it's like, we can schedule this. Like, I know someone is excited to get their car registered, but it can wait a day. It could wait 2. It could wait a week, honestly. They can go to the DMV, get the registration, file the separate form, but it's just a little bit more bureaucratic work, and it's frustrating, but it's also with the cost. So with this model, instead I would have people who are on for the coverage periods. We would know their schedules just like
Just be round robin.
correct. And so if I have a deputy in Athens and a VIN verification came in and they have nothing going on, they drive over to Athens. If I have a deputy in Grafton and a car crash in Townsend occurred, we go to the car crash. And so we start sharing a resource, which is better because it means we're not trying to pinpoint when to have people come work on a specific issue.
So I like the concept. What if you only, and devil's advocate, what if you only get 5 towns? Would you be able to move forward and the 5 towns would be able to operate under this system, and then you'd have contracts with other towns?
The minimum number of towns we need to establish the council is 5 towns. I already anticipate that 5 towns will join, and the towns that I did a different pilot project with, around control, and so that's Putney, Westminster, Jamaica, Londonderry, and Vernon. I would anticipate those joining. Towns like Grafton, you might say this is great and we love it and we want to join. You might say, not right now. Then back to my original point, we don't like change. And we have contract. Yes, nothing in this bill changed the system, statutory authority at my office, nor the towns.
So if that was the scenario that played out, you had 5 or 6 towns and the other towns were on contract, they would still be on their negotiated hours. And so the towns that join would still have the benefit of the response of the whole team.
Correct.
Okay.
But if we were only 6 down, our budget would go what considerable.
So if we get into the math of how a per capita rate is assessed and what the services are. So let's say that you were the sixth town to join with, with towns saying they want 50 police officers on 24/7. Well, yeah, your rate's gonna go up quite a bit. But I also have to be able to hire people and staff this, and so the reality is like,
You're gonna get 50.
when the governing council says, we want 50 people, I'm gonna say, welcome to reality. I can't even get 50 people into the police academy if I can hire them tomorrow. So maybe let's start talking about what next year looks like, and we'll go from there. But where I would start this, if I were came for a day, if I could come in and say, this is what the council is going to do, it's up to me. We're gonna do the exact same amount of personnel from my perspective, which is the same budget levels from town's perspective. And at the end of the day, let's see if we can get this governing piece working. It's really the crux of the problem when we look at different regionalization issues across the state. So if we can deliver the current cost and the current system that we have, then it's actually better for the towns. And what it starts to do for me is build trust amongst the community, saying this is a better system. And then we can start looking at what I want is a more stable, sustainable system. And so we can say, now let's plan, what do we need? There's 2 people on per shift enough. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Do we need more people on Friday nights or do we need them on Monday nights? And some people say, oh, definitely Friday nights, you need shocked if the number of times Monday nights are actually the busy one. So we can use data to support all of those decisions, which is the nice thing. But what I think we need to do first is develop trust in what this new body would be, and that it's not going to harm taxpayers, which is one of our primary goals in this bill is how do we not hurt the taxpayer? How do we make this a better access to service? And how do we basically start doing the things that 6 years worth of studies have told us we should do that we just haven't?
This is a pilot program, it's a demonstration, it was authorized going through the political process in the state. How come, did they put any money into it or
No.
any resources? So what you're being delighted to do is to experiment with this original way of delivering police services. And if it works, then you're gonna be busy over the next 3 or 4 years running around the state saying, this is how we made it work.
It's actually, so the pilot project is 8 years. I asked for 5. I don't know why it's 8, but that's what it is. Yes, I will be busy explaining why it works. I've already been talking to other sheriffs in other counties who are I say other counties, towns in other counties who are interested in the work that we did. Where I start with all of them is the same that I did in our community, which is you have to have the conversations. And so this was the roadmap of the conversations we had. There is I call them landmines, you could call them a variety of other things, but there's a variety of issues related to the funding conversation. And it very quickly turns into the conversation, what's the town responsible for? What's the state responsible for? How are taxes raised? And we get into some really meaty conversations that I'm not the expert on. What I do know is if we had gone with this bill asking for an appropriation this year, it would have been dead before it even got introduced. And knowing that what I like to call the cannibalization of current appropriations we're asking towns to cannibalize what they're currently spending on funding for town or municipal contracts with my office to pay for the services with my office. So basically, we're stealing money from ourselves to pay ourselves, if that makes any sense.
It does, I mean, you hit it right, it sort of makes sense, but you're right about the dead before it took a breath.
The good news is, well, I would like to see the state come in and appropriate money to do this type of thing. I just realistically don't see it happening in the next 4 years. Only for what that budget process for them looks like. This is a new idea towns are currently paying for. Policing is considered to be a town responsibility or the state's responsibility. So with this, it at least follows some current concepts and understandings, whether and those arguments will be had later on because it is all coming back to how do we make Vermont affordable. And when people are struggling right now with all of the things, including gas prices, we are very much talking about the same thing. There was a proposal to amend this bill before it was passed. Which would basically be, it's no longer the sheriff's responsibility, it would be a new police chief. And it's like, sure, let's do it, we just need $10 million. Because we need to buy cars and radios and equipment, and we need to hire people, and so what are the resources that are really coming into this? It's the town's money that pays for the service, and it's the resources my department has, including vehicles, radio communication systems, evidence systems, computer systems, like there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it, so that's how we were able to get it through with no money. And really what we're doing is having a conversation with the towns to say, we're trying something, we're gonna learn. I don't know what we're gonna learn the first year, but it's academically, it's pretty straightforward, what we should be able to learn, and when the rubber meets the road, we should be able to start working on some of the other
Because these
conversations.
are different models.
I mean, at least the rubber's on them there. But there will be an opportunity for us to report back to the legislature about a number of the issues that have been identified in all of these studies, which we can say, well, this is how we work through it. One of the really neat features of this bill is that it's actually designed to be a learning study. And so it's gonna be the council that's making decisions on how to solve some of the problems that we will not be able to forecast, which is incredibly odd when we are a Dillon state, which basically means the legislature tells us how the town can function. And I know you're very familiar with having to deal with that and be told how you can raise funds or what you can or cannot do. This didn't follow the Dillon rule in whole. It was very much saying, we're gonna trust this group of people to be problem solvers, and that's really neat. It is gonna end in 8 years, but hopefully in 8 years, we're gonna go with a body of work to the legislature and say, this is how we think we can make it a permanent system.
Well, I was very excited when I got your letter. I mean, for all the meetings that I've attended, and it matches very much with, the animal control program, which is quite successful, and we're pleased with it. And I can see diving into this because we want more services. And as a former rescue person, did it for 34 years, on calls where we needed you and didn't have you, we had to wait for state police, or at one point, we had nothing. And we had to do it ourselves, and boy, that was really tough. So I applaud what you're doing, and I'm in favor for it.
So, and I'm a little tired, the two asks I have, and again, I don't need the answer today, is will the town join, and I just need a yes or no. And then the second ask is if the town does join, I just need to know who from the select board would be the representative to the governance council. VLCT wanted to be very intentional on it being a member of the select board, not an appointee from wherever, because we are talking about the voters' money. They wanted it to be an elected official who can represent the voters for your community, so I think we are underneath a National Guard exercise right now, and that's exciting as well. So I would just need to know who from the board would be the representative if the town did decide to join.
So I would like to know what other board members are, thinking about, and do we make the motion? Morgan? If we accept, well, I'm in favor, I don't know about Peter or John.
It's hard to think of a reason to say no.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the only thing that would make it not advisable to do it is the budget.
Money,
It's gonna
yeah.
raise it considerably, then. But if it's gonna raise it a little bit, it's worth it, and so.
I agree as well.
And
Yeah, I said I agree.
So Kathy, you made the motion,
yeah,
and
Second,
sounds like.
if no other further discussion,
Can I just hear what the motion?
Is to join.
join the, regional law enforcement program, pilot program.
And that satisfies you, and you can go home and get a rest.
I just want to make sure.
And while he's looking for that, should we identify an
The person.
individual?
I've been on all his meetings, you know, I've been involved. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being a representative. We've got a good communication.
So I think the motion would need to be that the town of Grafton votes to become a member municipality of the Law Enforcement Governance Council in Wyndham County.
Right, so I say so moved.
And it's been seconded.
Yep.
Second,
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? You guys have it.
Well, thank you very much. Grafton is the first town to join. And I am working with at least 3 other towns right now to set up times to meet, and it's just, we're trying to do this so quick, so. We're pulling this together quick, but very excited. I'm, to your point, or maybe it's yours, I'm blurring now. I don't know why you wouldn't vote to do it, but I also respect that towns have different unique issues and interests that they need to look at, and so we don't want to be punitive to towns who say no. We just think that it's pretty obvious that this is for everyone's benefit, and that's a good way to do work.
It's a nicely crafted description too, by the way, thank you. Did
Yeah.
you say you're acting as the point person, or do we need to talk about it?
does anyone else wanna do
Does
it?
anybody else wanna do it?
I don't
Can I
think,
just speak for 1 second?
I,
Kathy, what comes to my mind is the school.
Mhm.
And how much we need you right now for the school. And I'm not suggesting that this would be a huge time takeaway for you, but
What's the time involved?
yeah, what's the,
things always take more time than you think they're going to take.
So year 1 is going to be educating any, well, council members on what it is. So anyone who has a background with it, which Kathy does, will spin up quicker, and so that will be easier. Anyone who doesn't, I would take the time and I will do whatever I can to work with them, but it will need more time. Year 1, we have to format the bylaws for the group, and organize the group with its formal leadership. So, there will be work there. But a lot of that's the administrative burden on my office. After that, it's a budget process for developing law enforcement. Fundamentally, that's a me problem. I tell you what it costs to do the service. So I don't see this as a significant lift, which is why we are running an aggressive schedule. We have to have it prepared no later than finalized no later than January, because it follows the county's fiscal year, which then they have to report to you for town meeting. So like all of this is very much about a month before your town's budgeting process.
do you see these as in-person meetings? Where would they be? How does this work? Through Zooms,
Zoom, Teams, something else, but
whatever.
we'll have a hybrid model most likely, people can show up in person.
Or do you have a meeting schedule or any idea of that
are
once every week?
The,
Any thoughts?
you talking during the day or evenings?
this would have to be a decision of the council members. It's not my choice, it's the council's. And that's the cool thing with this, they have to follow open meeting law like a select, where we pretty much modeled it off of the requirements and obligations you have to go through in terms of meeting. But how much time does it take to develop a budget? I have my costs pretty well figured out, and so I can say this is what I need.
I would
So-
be interested, I just have a lot of meetings during the day, I could do evenings.
Yep, I would anticipate they would be meetings, but again, I would anticipate this is part of the organizing function. Is when can people meet? Honestly, I think that the budget itself could probably be resolved in 2, if not 3 meetings. That's really all we're determining is what are the services and what does it cost for the services, and what does this mean as a result to town of Grafton, to town of Dummerston, to Newfane, to Putney, to Westminster, and is this going to break things? Everything I want with this pilot is that we don't break the existing things.
I would be happy to help, but it's not a good time for me to take on another obligation, so I'm gonna pass. just to the rest of you.
Anyone else, first time?
Sure, I do, I don't know.
I'm interested as well, but. We don't have,
interested.
we don't have to resolve this.
No,
That's, you need to know by next month.
You let me know the thing I needed to know by next month. That's what I would need to know, as I'm reading this, I'm looking at this through the very lens of the conversation you're having. I don't see this saying anything about you have to pick who your member is indefinitely.
Well, we can't because it's 8 years and we're only 2.
Yeah, 8 years.
And so the reality is that like
This
Well,
person
third,
will
right.
change.
the next 6 months, it's select board member A, and then 6 months after that, it's select board member B. You can play musical chairs with who your representative.
So we
is.
we'll try by the 15th, maybe.
It's more than one interested.
Yeah, so you have interest.
The
Well, I
first
think you have
meeting
several
will be
options.
anticipated for August, September timeframe, so we wanna know as summer's coming to a close, but. We have a little summer in front of us, and it gives me time to prep some of the work for the council. To be able to get to brass tacks right away.
Thank you.
My pleasure, thank you for
Go
your.
get those towns recruited.
Do we still sign?
Yeah, because in the meantime, that's,
The
Well, we're doing-
contract for July 1, 26 to June 30, 27.
that won't take us.
Like pretend nothing with this.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause we're talking a year out.
So
Right.
we need to sign that.
Act 104 being mission delivery July 1, 2027.
So,
And if we blow my timeline, which is also okay, in 8 years. If we blow my timeline, then we'll just be looking at 2028 for mission delivery, and so we're still doing contracts. So do not ignore the contract that you have before you,
Right,
or you just won't have service.
no,
No, listen.
I think we should make a motion to sign the contract.
Yes.
I would make that motion.
all in
So-
favor?
I'll get a copy of that.
I try.
Do you have a picture? Do that motion? I just wanna make sure I really get the language of it. correct.
Trying to make a copy.
It
Do
sounds like a great.
you wanna make a copy of it?
You can actually have this copy.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I have the,
I can just take a picture of it.
So it is this part.
Mhm.
And then that part.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
You have anything more for me?
I don't think so. I think you're all set, but thanks so much.
Thank you, it's my pleasure, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, and thank everybody on your crew that we really appreciate your service.
I'll gladly do that, thank you.
Okay, our next regular meeting is Monday, July 2026 at 6 p.m. And I need a motion to move to adjourn and move to executive session
so
for
moved,
evaluation of employees.
sorry, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Ball.